What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Alton Podcast. My name is Colton, one of the co-founders of Alton Innovations, and I'm here with my boy, Austin. Say hello to the people, my man.
How's it going, guys? It's going to be a nice Wednesday morning.
Oof, it sure is. And before we get started officially, I want to say, altonpodcast.com. Hit it up. And then on top of that, we are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, Breaker, Radio Public, all major streaming platforms. What do you think about that, Austin?
Super exciting to see our content on so many different devices and to have a website.
I know. It's pretty cool.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. And
this is episode 10.
Yeah, episode 10. We hit the double digits. Let's go. Man. So, speaking of double, we're going to be talking about foldable devices today. Okay. Specifically, the Galaxy Fold durability test that CNET did about a week ago. And the reason why this is getting so much coverage is not only because the Galaxy Fold broke in the process for fun, for science, obviously for science. Everything's for science. But it didn't hold up to Samsung's standards. Samsung said a Galaxy Fold will be able to stand up to 200,000 folds, but the CNET test only went up to, 120,000 folds.
Kind of low, but you gotta figure the average user probably isn't going to use, 1,000 folds a day or 500 folds a day to make that really significant.
Yeah.
They're estimating a range of about 80 to 200 folds per day. So that's still, several years of potential usage.
Right. I mean, it really depends on what you do on your phone as well. Like, if you're using a Galaxy Fold for business and you're, constantly writing emails and stuff like that, then you're opening it way more than the average person who might just open it to watch YouTube videos, in their bed, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, it honestly depends on, what content you're viewing on it, who you are, what you use it for. If you're going to use it more as, a computer, then obviously you're going to use it more in the unfolded, the open version versus just the regular phone version. So, I mean, like I said, it really just depends. But then Austin and I were talking. We were thinking, what does this mean for the future of folding devices? Are we going to see more durable screens? Are we going to see more foldable devices in general? Are we going to see less? So we're going to introduce the future of folding phones in this podcast. So what are you thinking, Austin? What's the future of folding phones?
They're going to grow. They have to grow. But my concern with this model specifically is I love Samsung. The Galaxy phones, I've had one since the Galaxy S5. And I still run it. I have the Galaxy S9 right now.
Lit.
And, this is a $2,000 device. So my primary concern is, when does that screen fold start popping up? I don't want to pay $2,000 for something and then have a little fold in my screen, because that's going to drive my OCD absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So I wonder, the bigger question right now is, do we think it's going to be more a hinge base like Microsoft is introducing? Or is it going to be more of a foldable screen base like the Samsung Galaxy are introducing?
Yeah. I mean, in general, durability-wise, the hinge going down the middle separating the two screens, obviously that's going to go way longer, durability speaking. But I think people are naturally going to gravitate towards the full screen with the crease in the middle, simply because the experience is, more fluent and more unique. But if I had a preference, I think we're going to see more with the hinge in the middle with two separate displays, simply because it's probably, it is easier to make, and it's an interesting entry point for these smartphone manufacturers. So I think we're definitely going to see a couple more of those, but I obviously think we're also going to see more full screen ones simply because the first ones were the ones without the hardware hinges down the middle. So we're kind of in a weird limbo here because the first ones introduced were the full screen, but now we're starting to see ones without the full screen with a physical hinge in the middle. So I think we're going to see a mix here in the next 2 years, Austin.
Absolutely. I do think that early game, it's going to be the hinge. 100%. Until they get the technology better for our screens.
Yeah.
Once they hit that peak of that, they should be able to do better screens that won't have that crease on the middle, because I'm sure nobody wants to see a crease in the middle of the phone they just bought, in 6 months.
Especially when you paid $2,000 for it.
Which is insane. I think phones are going to keep getting more expensive.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, if you really think about it, if a phone is double the size simply because you can fold it, the specs in it are obviously going to be more beefy, especially to handle a bigger display.
Yeah, but do you think there's a limit to how much the people are going to pay?
Of course, 100%. And I honestly think that might be why Apple's smartphone numbers have gone down over the past year or two, is because they were the first one to introduce the $1,000 smartphone. Because for a while there, smartphones were about $750. It was a comfortable spot for a couple years that everyone didn't mind paying for. And then out of nowhere, Apple introduced the iPhone X, which was $250 more. So I think that's definitely what started their dip. To be fair, they did also release the XR, which was the $750 version. But people aren't stupid. They know it's a stripped down version of what was supposed to be the regular 10. So I don't know. People definitely want cheaper phones with more in it. And you can't say the quality is not there, because if you look at a device like OnePlus, you're getting flagship specs for like $500.
That's a fair point, but do you think the flagship phones over the years are going to progress to the more expensive models as well? I mean, it just makes sense from a business aspect. If you see a market that is allowing people to pay more and more money increasingly, you're going to want to up your game up a little bit too. Why would you spend or give people a phone for $500?
Yeah.
When you can charge $750 and to buy it.
Right. I mean, 100%. It's already happened. Samsung already in the $1,000 phone game. And with the Fold, they're obviously already introducing a $2,000 market. Granted, the Fold is more of like a luxury device, obviously. And I think especially tech heads and people where money is not necessarily an issue, they're definitely going to go out and buy these devices simply to experience them and just kind of say they had them. I mean, let's be real. They're unique. And if you really think about it, $2,000 for a smartphone is, as much as I hate to say it, not that expensive when you're getting great specs with a very unique device.
I'd say that is really pricey, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta figure $2,000. Just doing some quick little math here. And usually you get phones for 2 years, so 24 months. You pay for it monthly through your company. That's $83 a month.
Yeah.
That's just a phone. That's not your service.
True.
So I think the balance should be a half and half. You can pay $40 for your phone, $40 for your service. That makes a fair bill.
Okay.
When you start going into this increasing increments of you're paying like an 80-20 relationship, that might drive people away. I don't know how well this phone is going to sell. Minus to the enthusiasts that are, Samsung addicts like I am.
Yeah.
Or that just want to have the newest and greatest innovative technology.
Right. And I'm not going to lie. The price, honestly, the price is holding me back from getting it. But at the same time, it's like, how durable is version 1? You know what I mean? Like, obviously the tech YouTubers have gotten a handle of this, and have made extensive videos. Obviously, CNET did their folding test. But, you know, version 1, me and you talked about this when this first came out. Does anyone, not does anyone, people do refrain from buying version 1 products simply because they're version 1 products. They're going to have those kinks that need to be, hammered out. And people are more likely to buy a V2 product, especially something unique like this and has more of a durability aspect to it.
Absolutely. I'm worried about dropping this phone.
Yeah.
Like, cases are going to have to do a really new change to go with these foldable phones.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And as far as the technology is concerned, yeah, it's amazing that they put 2 phones in one.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what they did. They put 2 phones in one.
Yeah. I mean, well, okay, it's technically one phone and a tablet in one.
Mm-hmm. But
and then
that
obviously
technology is not necessarily new. They just found a way to combine it. So they just doubled up everything.
Right.
Is that worth over a double markup for the phone? It's probably not.
So, I mean, if you simply put the 2 devices next to each other in a cart, depending on the brand you get, you are looking at probably $1,500 to $2,000.
Well, like 2 S9s.
Mm-hmm.
Or 2 S10s. Whatever they have right now. I can't remember.
Yeah. It's $2,000.
Just $750 a piece, unless you buy the premium version.
No, that's the 10e.
That's the 10e now.
Yeah.
So they raised their game too, because Apple did.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, they took the exact same play as Apple did with the 10. Yeah, just the standard 10 is $1,000, my guy.
That is saddening, honestly.
I know.
I think a good price point for this phone would be $1,500 flat.
Yeah, and
if I saw it at $15, I think I would be tempted to get it.
Yeah, and like I was saying about the whole V1 V2 thing, I think they're definitely gonna find some spots to get the price down. I don't think it'll get as low as $1,500.
No.
Maybe not even $1,750. But I can maybe see them getting it down, if they truly want to get it down, to about $1,800, $1,850.
Yeah, and it also depends on how well the sales do. So if V1 sales are just trash, they're going to knock off more of the total price than they think they need to.
Right.
So that's when we might see that $1,500. But if sales do really well, and it surpasses their expectations, they may up the price to $2,250, $2,500 next phone.
Yeah. And it really depends on the specs that are in it, too. That's the real kicker. Because if I'm not mistaken, the Galaxy Fold has, 12 gigs of RAM? And,
I think so.
A 4,500 milliamp hour battery.
Massive.
Yeah, I mean, there's some fantastic specs in it, obviously. And, obviously to accommodate the giant screen. Technically, a tablet screen and a smartphone screen. So there's a lot that's in it.
Yeah.
But, honestly, it's cool, but it's just not worth the money right now, in my opinion, personally, especially with it being a V1 product and with it being, the first major competitor in the folding screen space, other than the Surface Neo that was announced, but those aren't coming out till next year. So those have, 2 years ahead of the game when it comes to technology on top of the fold. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And so the big question is, who do you think is going to be next? What's the next company to release a folding smartphone?
Do you think Apple will release one?
I think they have to.
Do you think they will, though?
Yes.
Okay. So Apple is notorious for being late to the game. So if they release one, I don't think it's going to be until fall 2021.
Really?
I honestly think it will be that long.
Nah, it's going to be Christmas time next year.
You think it's going to be as early as next year, huh? The 12s?
I think they're going to rush it for those potential sales.
Really?
Any smart company would, man.
Really? I wonder if they're gonna wait for the same year as the Galaxy Folds version 2. I think that would be a better business play for them.
Well, right now there's no competition for the Surface, Microsoft. Next holiday
Technically.
2020,
Yeah.
besides the Galaxy Fold,
Okay.
there is no competition.
Yeah. Do people buy Microsoft phones, though?
I haven't seen them, but they might start.
I mean, Windows phones were a thing, but the last time I checked that statistic, it was under 5%.
Yeah,
Of the
they're
entire
calling
smartphone
less
market.
than Apple. Yeah,
Yeah.
but this new foldable device might be what gets them back up a couple margins, and to have competition there besides the Galaxy Fold would be smart.
Mm-hmm.
Apple can use their weight to kind of pull away some sales from that company.
Yeah. It would be very interesting to see what they would, send or show us. So are you in agreement that Apple would be the next major competitor?
Yeah, I'd say Apple would have to be, because Google's already releasing their event
Mm-hmm.
in a couple weeks here, a week here now.
Yeah.
So if they don't announce it there, they're probably not going to have one coming out.
Yeah.
And that would be the next big
Right.
potential competitor.
Right. I mean, can you see a Pixel Fold?
Oh, I could see a Pixel Fold, absolutely.
Yeah, but not this year, you don't think? Simply because of how soon the event is.
Unless they're just doing really well hiding it from us and they're going to drop the bombshell,
Yeah.
which, could happen.
Yeah.
But if they don't announce it this release, it's not happening.
So the Pixel 4 has been leaked heavily. So
Mhm.
I feel like if there was a Pixel Fold, it would have been leaked. But I haven't
Absolutely.
seen one leak about it, which means I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be Microsoft versus Apple next holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any? I don't see a date on when these are officially out now, aren't they?
The Folds?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're out in people's hands. You can buy them right now.
Perfect. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this one's gonna take over the holiday market. But I don't see the V1 doing too good, like you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't know how to get a case for my phone if I buy this thing.
Yeah, so I think it comes with a case, but let's be real. It's more like a skin.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Let's
weird.
see here. Galaxy 10 Fold case.
Because technically, you can't put a case around the hinge. Because it folds.
Yeah.
It's definitely something people are going to think about, especially because how expensive it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You know what I could see coming out for these if they're not out already, Austin?
What?
I can see, like, sleeves coming out for these.
I can too.
Yeah. Like, you just drop it in the sleeve. But if you really think about it, if it's in the sleeve, it's most likely in your pocket. So then do you even buy the sleeve?
That's true. And I'm looking on Amazon right now here.
Yeah.
And I see no case
Yeah.
at all for this new Galaxy phone.
Mm-hmm.
Which, for me, as a person that does drop their phone occasionally, usually has the phone when I'm skating around playing hockey or whatever,
Right.
that deters me immediately.
Right.
I'm not going to buy this phone if there's no case to protect it.
Right. And, a lot of people don't use phone cases, but there's obviously a lot of people that do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It really depends on how big the market is.
Yep.
Yeah. And from what I am seeing and hearing, the market for it is not that big. The want for it is big, but the actual people paying for it now already is not that big from what I'm getting.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to grow. It's going to become a new mainstream thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to take a few years, to kind of get that really going, to perfect the technology. Again, a fold on my screen,
Right.
that will just drive me up the nearest wall. I mean, I'd return it. I really would.
Yeah. Obviously that's a huge preference point, which is why I said we'll probably see some more with the hinge down the middle too, breaking through that
Absolutely.
screen, making them two separates.
Ooh, do you think Apple's going to do that, or are they going to do a foldable screen?
You know, considering Apple is all about innovation and like modern, sleek looking products, I'm going to guess, take a stab at it, and say they're going to do the folding screen with no hinge.
Think so.
Simply because it looks cooler, it's more, eye grabbing. It's just more their brand if they go without the hinge in the middle, in my opinion.
I think they're going to do a hinge.
Really?
100%.
Why?
They've always been so proud of their hinges when I work on the Apple Airs.
Really?
The MacBooks.
Interesting.
Their hinges, which are very nice. I'll give it to them. They did really nice design work on the hinges.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you are the repair guy, then they're the biggest pain in the ass in the world. So I could see them doing some kind of version of their hinge that they have on the Macs.
Yeah.
On their phone.
Interesting. That'd be very interesting to see.
I can't wait.
Yeah. And I think that's going to do it for this podcast, everybody. Like I said in the beginning, altonpodcast.com to get all of those streaming links. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all major streaming platforms. You name it, we're on it. And with that, we'll see you guys in the next podcast. Thanks for listening.